here for
why don't people just do something different?
Yeah.
Right? Go 350 and, 4 and 5, then go 6 and 7 in the 250, 8 and 9 in the 150, and then get a wedge in the 100 in the gap wedge. Why not? Maybe I should do that. You have to hit this in a fitting.
Yep.
Right? Like you can't skip over this. This is kind of a big step in the right direction. Fitting aspect wise too, Titleist did get, we have a new adapter for the iron. So a little bit more adjustability when it comes to loft and lie. So truly we can get these things dialed.
You know where our listeners can get it dialed at?
Where?
Loggerheadgolf.com.
Yep.
So as this video goes live, we will have our website active for all pre-orders.
Yep. This is a completely new iron. We can do whatever you want.
Welcome back to the channel. Exciting day. Today's the media launch day for the new T-Series for the 2025-2026 season from Titleist. And all I've got to say is they look amazing.
Yeah. Anytime Titleist comes out with something new, anytime they come out with something new, they always like kind of release it nonchalantly. Like it's you don't know anything until you know. Right. And obviously, once we were able to see these come in the store a few weeks ago, my first impressions were, T100, T150. They look like how the hell they always look good. And then obviously we have the new T250s and T350s. So special stuff. Now we were able to get our hands on the fitting components here the last few days, and it's been well received so far. Mm-hmm. So let's go through each model and kind of what do we got in front of us?
Yeah, we'll start with the first one. So you've got your T350, and something you'll notice throughout the video is on the fitting heads, finally somebody's done it. We've got this weight port. Mm-hmm. So during a fitting, we can now kind of control the swing weight and test it at different, whether we want to go lighter or heavier. Mm-hmm. So this is only on the fitting head. The retail heads obviously will not have the weight port.
Yes, correct.
But jumping into it with the T350, the first thing that I kind of said about this iron is it's finally a higher handicap player / forgiving iron that doesn't look like a high handicap golf club. It looks very premium. I mean, you almost get that 620 MB kind of look to it, and then you've got this nice, comfortable, wide sole. So I think that's the one thing they've done with this lineup is every club you could put in your bag and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I think they, as far as like looks go, I mean, they're all blending together. When the previous lineups, when you got into that T200, T350, you could tell that they had, it was a two piece, right? Is the T350 one piece as well?
No, it's two. So the change from the 2023 model to this one is on the spec sheet here. It's a L face. So essentially, it's a forged face welded, but the forged face actually goes up into the hosel a little bit. Get more consistent ball speed across the face. Yeah, I mean that's all that's going to do.
Yeah. So for a forgiving iron, you still get that feel that you come to expect from a forged iron. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Any other technology of kind of what's changed from the previous 350 to this? No, other than the cosmetics, obviously, mostly.
We talked about it in the tech review back, 2 years ago now. So they're still got those D18 tungsten weights in there. Now they have refined them a little bit, so each head's kind of more specifically weighted based off of what they're going for here. Yeah. But T350 really, I think cosmetically, and then the new L Forge face, I mean, those are your two big changes. Yeah.
And then acoustics go with that too, with it kind of being just with the way that it's framed. I think, again, for those of you that have played the 350 in the past or the 300, that you feel like you got that clicky sound, I feel like they kind of definitely fixed the acoustics on that as well. So let's roll into the 250 because this is technically a new iron.
Yeah. So no more T200.
Nope.
And technically speaking, there's an iron missing here because now we've got the T250 star head. Yeah. So I think that's one thing that is going to be cool is Titleist. When you hear Titleist, you don't think about ladies normally, golf clubs. You don't
you don't really think about game improvement.
Correct. And you don't think about junior golf clubs. Mm-hmm. So the star head, it's kind of like a Mizuno HL head. So weaker in loft, lighter head weight, easier to get in the air. So 7 iron is 35 degrees on the star head. So it's a massive change.
Yeah.
But more specifically, since we've got this one in front of us, we'll talk T250. Same thing, got the L forge face like both hollow body models do. And then the biggest thing with this one is the huge cosmetic change. There's no more badging.
Yeah.
So it's
I think that's kind of what I was referring to in the 350, 250.
Yeah, it's one piece of steel welded to one piece of, the forge face. So you're not going to, I hate to say it, you're not going to have that badge fall off, because I know that was a pretty big problem that they faced in acoustically. I wish we could show people the inside of this one, but when our rep came by, he showed us the inside of the iron, and they've got like this red kind of almost urethane material behind the face now.
Yeah.
So sound is drastically better. It's not as clicky anymore.
Yeah, no, I think this 250 looks awesome. As far as kind of what the changes that they've done with it, looks like they thinned out the top line a little bit, made it look less boxy compared to the previous 200. From the looks and feel standpoint, I think it's essentially, I think you truly now have to create, go with it as a completely different iron.
Yep.
Right. If you've been on the fence between playing a 150 and a 200, and the 200 just didn't give you that feel aspect, I think this 250 gives you a chance to kind of gain a little bit of forgiveness if that's kind of what you were looking for in your game. Yep. And then we'll dive into more kind of what we think each of these irons are built for. But roll into the 150. Titleist is probably most popular iron they've come out with since probably the AP series.
Yep. So T150 is kind of like the AP2 of the modern generation. That's kind of how they've been marketing this golf club. And I think they finally kind of got back to like the 716, 714, like what's considered Jordan Spieth's greatest irons that he's ever played. They've almost got back to that same look and shape, because underneath the T150 cavity, there's this inline slot that helps with ball speed across the face, because these are 1 degree stronger than T100s.
There's essentially a little hollow section in there,
correct.
Right? Yeah.
So definitely, if you're kind of on the fence, how many tour guys right now are playing T150 long irons? And even T150 full sets.
If you see a Titleist bag out there, they either have a T200 or now a T250 or a T150 somewhere in the back.
Shoot, this week at Scottish, we've seen some tour only 352 irons, which is pretty sweet.
No, again, this 150 has been probably for the actual everyday golfer, this has been Titleist's best iron they've come out with the last few years. So I'm excited to see how this one performs. Now, we have used them in a few fittings, which again, been well received. I think, now that the official launch date's there, the people are going to know about it.
Yep.
We'll have more to say on kind of what the performance says.
And I think with this new lineup, with the new groove change, you're really going to see it in T100, T150, just more consistent spin. Because obviously T350, T50, that's going to be a lower spinning iron no matter what. Stronger in loft, hollow body, they're going to spin low.
Yeah, they moved the CG to help gain launch, so the window matches up.
Yep.
But moving into the 100, okay, right out of the gate, this is, I think this is a completely different looking T100 than the previous 3 generations of them now. Or is this the third?
No, is it third or fourth?
I don't know. Seems like the 100's been around for a long
time.
But this is a completely new iron. As far as shape goes, as far as offset goes, right out of the gate from the previous generation, they definitely took out a little bit of offset in this iron, sharpened the top line a ton. Without this little cavity back here, this thing's a blade. When you set it on the ground, it looks like the traditional kind of 620, looks like the 620 MB. This is obviously their most played iron on tour for a reason, right? Yep. And they clearly, with the shaping of this iron, they kept their tour players in mind, which Titleist has always been a company to where it's
better players.
They're big on tour validation.
Yep.
So I think as far as the technology goes, what's changed in this 100?
So it's got a little bit kind of talking about the 620 MB. MB stands for muscle back. So obviously this has a cavity, but they've lowered the CG to get almost like a muscle back, or they're calling it a muscle channel. So just a little bit more enhanced feel. And I think with them blending the top line into the hosel a lot cleaner, you're a guy that's been stubborn about switching into something a little bit more forgiving, even though he needs it. I think it's going to make it a lot easier now. Because when you sit them on the ground side by side, most people can't tell.
I say you put this next to the MB, you put this next to the Mizuno 241, you put this next to any blade. From a top line standpoint, you would not be able to tell it's technically not a one-piece blade. Yep. And honestly, that's why you see a ton of guys playing this iron, right? You have Ludwig, who is one of the best ball strikers in the world, playing the T100. I mean, and supposedly these things were pretty much like plug and play. Yep. The moment Titleist rolled it out to the tour players, I mean, you had guys putting them in their bag in the middle of a major.
And of course, they get the black irons a lot earlier than we do at retail.
Yeah.
It's kind of like TaylorMade. With Titleist, if they launch it in black, it's typically getting ready to be discontinued.
Yeah.
So,
well, the good news is with Titleist is they're launching these irons, but they're not sold out already, like what some of the other companies are doing right now with their products. But we could go on for days about that. Let's talk a little bit about who these irons are for.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be the most interesting change up with golf this year because it's opening the door for every player. I mean, you could take a guy that's never played golf before or a girl and put them in these T350s. They're going to get in the air, no problem. They can toe it as hard off the toe as they want, and they're really not going to see a ball speed drop. And you can do a lot of combo sets. I mean, typically when you're talking about a higher handicap player, for whatever reason, fitters are scared to do combo sets for that player. But now with that T250 star iron and the T350, you can kind of blend those together. So they can get some precision on the low end and some ball speed and height in the top end.
Yeah, so essentially the 350, like I hate to say this, I mean, technically the 350, you could be, if you need help with height,
ball speed,
I mean, technically you could be a low handicapper to a high handicapper playing this iron.
Now that they've changed the look of it, I think we can take some 5 and 6 handicap players that need the distance and they're not going to feel bad about playing.
You give me a scratch guy that's lost a little bit of speed that might need a little help with height and doesn't want to look down at a shovel. I mean, this iron is like perfect. It's kind of I hate to say this, it's the competitor to the Hot Metal Pro.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a outstanding iron. Again, like you kind of said, there's tour players that have the long irons in the bag of these 350s. That's how good it looks.
So I know we're trying to narrow it down, but I mean that's the cool part.
Like I hate to say it, but like the 350 has the widest.
Yeah, widest sole.
Sole, but I say it like it has the largest demographic for who this iron could fit.
Yep.
Now the moving into the 250, obviously very similar. This iron's definitely going to be in more of that player's distance type of category. Someone that wants that tour look, but still needs a little bit of forgiveness for off-center strikes. Again, same thing. Anything to a low to mid handicapper, I would say. If you're still struggling with off-center hits, the 350 is probably going to be more
stable.
Yeah, more stable. So,
I think too for our Titleist, we call purist and cult followers. Titleist launched a kind of prototype iron a few years back called the TMB.
Yeah,
do you remember that? Mm-hmm. This is kind of like a modern take on the TMB.
I had the 2 iron.
So I would say if you've been in those TMBs and they're because a lot of people still play those irons. Yeah. This is finally like a replacement for you.
Yeah. So again, kind of more that anything from a low to a mid handicap guy can, to obviously a plus scratch golfer.
Now we're in the bread and butter zone.
Correct.
For Titleist.
Which I would say these 3 kind of fit into each other. T150, who's that for?
Anybody. Anybody that wants to start.
Everybody.
Start shaping the golf ball a little bit more easily. Obviously, it's a lot narrower sole compared to the 350. Your off-center hits aren't going to be as stable as a 350, but for the player that's looking at this iron, they're not worried about that as much. So I would say, like, if we were gonna anybody from scratch all the way up to probably a 10 handicap would probably cap this comfortably without comboing them out.
Yeah, obviously this is where ball speed's going to be a big factor,
Yep.
right? If you're a guy that can move that ball speed into the 120s, the 250 could get jumpy at a certain point, right? So this T150 is a good way to still get a little bit of forgiveness if you're a higher speed player,
Yep.
without getting that jumpiness, that 7-iron that goes 200 yards. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Unless that's your game, which that's where I'd say good luck with a pitching wedge in your hand. But that's where that 150, I think, truly is. I mean, this is an iron that if you want to be able to work the ball, this is a, you have to hit this in a fitting,
Yep.
right? Like you can't skip over this. And then, which obviously combos really well with the 100, right? So who's the T100 for?
This one's where we see that big drop off. I would say this is like your club champ, like your club champion guy, your member winner.
I was gonna say, you meaning you being a club champion at your club? Yes.
Yeah, not the heavy swing weight people. So insert pun there.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to assume. I think the T100 is going to be the least sold iron.
For our demographic, probably.
I would say just for the general golf
Yeah.
demographic. Now,
You mean to tell me that golfers don't think they're better than they are and make their own buying decisions?
no.
Okay.
There's a thing in the golf world that sandbagging is a bad thing. I think vanity handicaps are worse. People who think they're better than they are.
Yeah.
But no, the only reason why I make that statement is this thing's a blade, right? Like when you set it down, it looks great to me. You all right over there? Mm-hmm. This thing looks great to me. That being like you have to hit this well, right? Like there's technically not a lot of forgiveness in this iron, which yes, even better players do need forgiveness. I mean, you hear guys saying it all the time now. They want to be able to just put the club down and not be worried about if they don't hit it perfect, right?
Yep.
Which you still get a little bit of that with the T100. I just think there's a big kind of drop off of who the T100 is for versus the T150. Now,
the word that we keep saying too, I mean, obviously Titleist, when they did the presentation with us, they're going to be pushing this comboing thing
Correct.
all year.
Correct.
So that's why like this lineup's kind of really interesting. Is technically
each iron's for
you could technically play all four heads if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be a weird bag, but I'm here for
why
it.
don't people just do something different?
Yeah.
Right. Go 350 and 4 and 5, then go 6 and 7 in the 250, 8 and 9 in the 150, and then get a wedge in the 100 in the gap wedge. Why not? Why not? Maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
But no, I do think all of these irons could definitely be comboed together. I mean, we're going to see a ton of T100s, T150 sets, right? If you go to a golf tournament, right, that you have high level golfers and you see Titleist clubs in their bag, they probably are comboing the T100s and T150s.
Yep.
We're going to see a lot of kind of utilities in that 250 zone.
Yeah, the T250U.
Yeah.
And the 505.
But that's kind of really, really, our takes on who we think these are for. Now, obviously, we have a lot of our next few months are going to be kind of big in seeing where exactly the data falls on it as far as what we see in the fitting bays. I mean, things could change. The hype could go away. I doubt that with Titleist.
Yeah, they look too good.
That being said, like we'll say it how it is. I mean, I'm glad a change was made at least from the T250 standpoint, the T200 iron.
I'm glad cosmetically because, again, it's not that I was not a fan of the last generation, but they look cheap for how premium the pricing was. Like the badging on them.
I'm just not a fan of badges. Yeah, just not a fan of badges, which...
Because cosmetically speaking, in my opinion, this is the best complete lineup we've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really have anything more to say on as far as who I think these are for. I will say, I think you kind of, I don't think we talk about the fitting aspect of these enough, right? So obviously we have the weight ports. How important is it to figure out your swing weight with your irons.
Well, being able to test it live versus taking a stab
live.
at us,
Yeah.
it's huge because they're introducing a new shaft with this, the MMT, which we've had for years, but they have a AMC version, which I would assume it's ascending mass because Titleist has always done the AMT, which is they're on their 5th generation of it. So being able to control head weight, especially in T350, when you get into those heavier shaft weights, you start curbing the head weight, and especially now that rubberized grips like CP2s, when you start taking 68 and 72 gram grips,
The most played grips, MCC +4. I mean that thing's 100 grams.
You're like unintentionally counterbalancing your golf club.
Yeah.
So it's a good way for us and for any educated fitter, and we say that any educated fitter, to actually balance it out during a fitting, because those, especially from
you got two shafts performing really well, and you might have to change the swing weight with both.
So I think that's going to be crucial. I think that's why it's going to be a lot of fun for us to fit.
Yeah.
Because they're the first ones to do this at a mass level. Obviously, Adele's done it. Ford Golf's done it. But those aren't
Ford thinks they're the first to do it. No, they're nowhere near it. I mean, PXG did it in their very first gens. I mean, this isn't something technically new. It's just it's cool to see.
Fitting,
it's cool to see that. I mean, Titleist they want your clubs to be right when you buy them, right? And that's why ultimately they give fitters like us access to making those judgments, making those changes, right? Now, some companies, I mean, unfortunately, they just kind of treat fitting centers like just sales centers, and they
commission.
They think you should just read their marketing and tell you why their stuff's great. So I think this is kind of a big step in the right direction. Fitting aspect wise too, Titleist did get we have a new adapter for the iron, so a little bit more adjustability when it comes
loft
to loft and lie and fitting. So truly, we can get these things dialed, which is all that we can ask for as a fitter.
You know where our listeners can get it dialed up?
Where?
Loggerheadgolf.com.
Yep.
So as this video goes live, we will have our website active for all pre-orders.
Yep.
And pre-orders will, first week of August, I believe, is when they'll start shipping all the parts out.
No.
And then as soon as they hit the door, we'll build them and ship them out to you.
Yep.
So we'll have all the heads, all the new driving irons, bunch of fun ferrule and grip combinations.
Again, and you can match these up aftermarket as well, right? So we still have the ever so popular aftermarket shafts, which
Axiom, Acura ISs.
I mean, we can do whatever you want.
It's like Napoleon Dynamite said, your wildest imaginations, dreams come true.
Haven't watched that movie in so long. I don't think I'll watch it again. We have show and tell? Cool.
Yeah,
all right.
We're showing and we're telling.
That is a good point. Let's end it on that.
Cool. Well, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, turn on push bell notifications, click the link down below to go on loggerheadgolf.com and purchase your new set of T-Series irons, and we will catch you on the next episode.